Home means comfort, happiness, being loved and cared for, and
it's my home and I have a right to live what I want to live and make my own choices and do what I want to do at home.
If lots of privacy.
Going home to my apartment where I can relax, do what I want to do, and design my apartment the way I want to.
I want a TV in my room.
A place to rest my head, a place to have fun, a place to do exciting things, a sense of community, a sense of belonging.
Home means a place that I feel safe and that I'm surrounded by my family.
Home means the way I live at. That's my home.
Having a choice in where you live is a really big deal. It's very important to people. The ARC is focusing on housing because in Minnesota we have an affordable housing crisis. Many people with disabilities rely on supplemental security income, but in the Twin Cities, rent for a modest one-bedroom apartment is 94% of the average SSI payment. It leaves very little for individuals to live on.
Between 2007 and 2011, in Minnesota, we saw the lowest level of apartment construction statewide in a 5-year period in the last 50 years. So even when there is affordable housing, there's not much of it. And if we look just at people with disabilities, they're impacted even more by the housing crisis.
We don't have the answers. Really, nobody has the answers. But what ARC does have is a sense of hope and the will and the skills to bring people together. It's what we've done for decades. It's what's opened many, many doors for people with disabilities and their families to help create a good life. I have full faith that over time, collective energy, community will, we will find the solutions. We have to find the solutions.
And Ashton, my oldest, is a special needs person. So he has an 8th chromosome genetic disorder. It's very rare, but he has some cognitive delays and a few physical delays. Ashton is a very sociable child, or man. He's 20 now. In an ideal world, he would be in a duplex, sharing it with a friend like other 20-year-olds. He and a buddy, sharing an apartment, living together, cooking together, hanging out together, doing the guy thing, you know, with caretakers coming in and helping them as they need it. Just him making the choice to live where he wants to live and live how he wants to live. That's the most important thing. He likes sports. He loves sports. He likes football. He likes basketball. He loves doing cheer. Cheerleading is his favorite activity. And so he is on an adaptive cheer team. Well, to help him be a little bit more independent, we are working really hard with teaching him how to wash his own clothes and teaching him how to cook food in a microwave. I'm always fearful that he's gonna trust the wrong person. But you know, at some point I have to let go and let him, you know, kind of do his own thing. So I just want him to be able to do what he wants to do. And he has made it clear that he does not want to live with me forever. So we have to figure something out.
As it has for more than 65 years, the ARC is bringing people together to figure out answers while providing advocacy and support. With Hennepin County, we're bringing family members and adults with disabilities together to share success stories, things that are working. We're also building grassroots support for systems change so that we can work together to create systems that more effectively serve individuals with disabilities. In addition, we're aligning our efforts around affordable housing with agencies like the Minnesota Housing Partnership, agencies that serve people in addition to people with disabilities. We all know that there are many people within our communities that are affected by the lack of affordable housing.
Are you my big brother?
Yeah.
My big brother Mike. My brother Mike was born in 1955 without eyes and was eventually labeled as having severe intellectual and developmental disabilities. At that time, my parents basically had two choices: institutionalize my brother or bring him home with literally no services or supports. Gratefully, and I think with a lot of courage, my parents decided to bring Mike home to be raised alongside, eventually, his 4 bratty siblings. And many, many families at that time were faced with the same really difficult decision, and my parents worked very hard. They were very creative and tenacious and resourceful about how to make life typical. I think it's scary for parents. Mom and Dad really had to think about what you were going to do with your life as an adult. It was a big deal time in the mid-70s to 80s with moving people out of the institutions and into what was then a pretty new concept, group homes. I think when you start out with a choice of institution or come home with no supports, when Mike moved into that first group home, I mean, it was a miracle. Really, when we all look back on it, it was a facility with staff. It wasn't his home. Weren't sure where we were going to go with that. We ended up, gratefully, with Hammer, which is where Mike lives now. I can't even begin to explain the difference in Kepper's life with the home here. It really is a home. Do you like living here, Kepper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike needs 24/7 caring, and there's lots of people like Mike. So this kind of a home is a paradise for him.
So for over 30 years, we've been tracking the deinstitutionalization movement in the United States and monitored what kinds of places people with intellectual and developmental disabilities live. Now the overwhelming majority of people live with their families in a family home or in their own home. One thing is there's really long waiting lists. A person might have an identified need and they're eligible for services, there just isn't funding it. As budgets get tighter, waiting lists get longer. I think a lot about children with autism who are growing up and now they're transition age, and they're going to be looking for places to live. They're going to need services in times when we're really hearing a lot about budget cuts. What happens is there's sort of this tightening of what we spend money on, and we're starting to see a reemergence of dependence on larger places where people with intellectual and developmental disabilities live, so almost a reinstitutionalization. It's a lot harder to monitor quality. ARC advocacy services really play an essential role in quality monitoring. And if something happens, that the ARC is there to advocate on behalf of that individual or their families.
We're at a critical juncture with this housing crisis, but I have no doubt that we will find the solutions that will open up many new doors and find many new homes for people with disabilities. A place to call home is really a foundation of a good life.